While the world obsesses over oil and gas, a thin strip of land along South America's Pacific coast controls the materials that will decide the next century. Chile holds the keys to every smartphone, every electric car, and every renewable energy grid on Earth. 1/3 of the world's copper, the planet's largest lithium reserves, and both China and America are fighting for control. Wedged between the Andes Mountains and the ocean has made it the world's leading producer of copper, with vast mineral deposits buried beneath its mountain terrain. Cut off Chile's copper supply, and the world's electrical grid collapses. 1/3 of every electrical wire, every power grid, every renewable energy system on Earth starts in Chilean mines. Your smartphone, Chilean copper. The wind turbines powering Europe, Chilean copper. The electrical grid keeping the lights on in Beijing, Chilean copper. And China knows it. Beijing imports 70% of Chile's copper exports. That's nearly 2 million tons per year flowing from mines into Chinese factories. When copper prices spike, China's entire manufacturing sector feels it. When Chilean miners go on strike, production lines in Shenzhen shut down. But copper is yesterday's war. Today's battle is over the metal that will power tomorrow. Every electric car needs 10 kilograms of lithium. Tesla alone needs 200,000 tons per year. Without lithium mined in Chile, the green energy revolution stops dead. Welcome to Atacama Desert, the driest place on Earth and home to 60% of the world's lithium reserves. Those white salt flats aren't just pretty, they're the oil fields of the 21st century. China figured this out first. While America was still debating over climate change, China was buying lithium mines. Chinese companies now control 40% of Chile's lithium production. Tianqi Lithium paid $4.1 billion for a stake in SQM, Chile's biggest producer. When the world switched to electric, Beijing was already there, controlling the supply chain from mine to battery. American car makers are scrambling. Ford, GM, and Tesla, they're all bidding against Chinese companies for the same lithium. As a result, most of the electric cars in America are lining the pockets of its greatest adversary. The Green Revolution isn't just changing how we drive, it's funding China's rise. Every cargo ship headed from Asia to the west coast of South America has to pass Chilean ports. Every ton of copper headed to China, every shipment of lithium headed to Tesla factories. And China figured this out first. Beijing didn't just buy Chile's minerals, they bought its ports, the power grid, and the cranes that move everything. Those massive cranes at Chile's ports are made in Shanghai. They can scan every container, track every shipment, and send that data straight back to Beijing. When those Shanghai-made cranes process your iPhone shipment, Beijing knows exactly what's inside. When Elon's lithium moves through Valparaiso, Chinese intelligence tracks every gram. And Washington only woke up to this recently. In 2022, the US killed a Chinese submarine cable project that would have connected Chile directly to Shanghai. The cable would have carried every email, every phone call, every bank transaction between South America and Asia through Chinese servers. The NSA didn't like that. Now, America has to fight a defensive battle in its own backyard. So how does a country of nearly 20 million people avoid becoming a Chinese mining colony? You have to make yourself essential to everyone. Chile signed 26 different trade deals with Europe, Asia, North America, and everyone in between. The most important might be the Pacific Alliance with Mexico, Colombia, and Peru. Together, they control half of Latin America's economy. And as part of a $2 trillion trading bloc, Chile won't be negotiating alone anymore. When China demands unfair lithium contracts, Chile says, no problem, we'll sell to Japan instead. When America pushes for exclusive deals, Chile points to its European contracts. In 2019, Chinese companies tried to corner Chile's lithium market. Chile's response? They opened bidding to American, European, and Australian firms, and the price jumped 40% overnight. The strategy works because Chile doesn't just dig holes in the ground. They refine their lithium, process their copper and export finished products instead of raw materials. This allows Chile to capture 3 to 4 times more value per pound of lithium than their neighbors Bolivia or Argentina. It also mirrors the investments that Indonesia has made in its processing facilities and its climb up the value chain. You can check out the video we did on them after finishing this video. While China and America were fighting over islands in the South China Sea, Chile quietly controls the gateway to an entire continent, Antarctica. 7 million square miles of ice, minerals, and strategic territory that could reshape global power. Chile operates year-round bases, funds polar research, and hosts every major expedition to the continent. This matters because Antarctica holds 70% of the world's fresh water and potentially massive mineral deposits. The 1959 Antarctic Treaty bans mining for now, but climate change is melting Antarctica ice faster than anyone predicted, and by 2050, new shipping routes and resource access could turn the continent into the next great power battleground. But every country trying to reach Antarctica will have to go through Chilean ports. Every research mission will refuel there. Every Antarctic supply chain will depend on Chilean logistics. The great powers already know this is a future opportunity. China is building its 5th Antarctic research station, Russia is expanding its bases, and the US is pouring money into polar research. Everyone is positioning for the day the Antarctic Treaty expires or gets renegotiated. And when that day comes, Chile will be there, with bases, infrastructure, and legal claims dating back decades. President Boric's 2025 Antarctic visit wasn't about penguins. It was about planting the flag for the next century of geopolitical competition. The only thing that could potentially disrupt this inside track is problems back at home. Chile does have an Achilles heel that could destroy everything. In 2019, a 4-cent metro fare increase brought down the government, and it was a fury that had been building for decades. Within hours, subway stations were burning. Within days, millions of people filled the streets. The military deployed for the first time since Pinochet, all because of 4 cents. Chile is one of the most unequal countries on earth. The richest 20% earn 60% of all income. Your average retiree gets $180 a month, barely enough for groceries. The supposed middle class is drowning in debt just to pay for private schools and healthcare. Panicked politicians froze electricity rates to stop the riots, but the bill was $6 billion, 2% of the entire economy, and someone has to pay that debt. While Chile argues with itself, Australia and Bolivia are ramping up their lithium production. And crises like these make Chile more desperate for foreign investment. That means they're more likely to accept Chinese loans and be dependent on Beijing's goodwill. So far, all Washington can do is watch nervously. An unstable Chile means unreliable supply chains. When your lithium supplier is rioting in the streets, your electric car revolution grinds to a halt. If Chile doesn't tear itself apart, it holds the keys to the future. Make yourself essential to everyone, play the superpowers against each other, and stay independent while getting rich. Chile doesn't just sit between the mountains and the sea. It sits between the past and the future, between American influence and Chinese money, between incredible wealth and crushing inequality. The country that keeps the lights on for the world can't keep its own people happy. And that's the one problem that Chile can't dig its way out of.